morning, everyone. This is a tweet that was tweeted out by the People's Party Guelph EDA, and this tweet says, "Our candidate's Twitter account was locked on Sunday night for no reason. It's still locked. Twitter has been notified multiple times. Twitter interferes in our elections. Not Russia, not other countries. Twitter, working with Trudeau. Be aware, this is unacceptable." Now, I want to clarify what I mean by working with Trudeau. I don't think that he's sitting in his office with a big Commissioner Gordon red-style phone that he can pick up, and it's a direct line to Twitter or Jack or whoever it is in Twitter. I'll show you what I mean. Here it is. Karina Gould is tweeting, quote, and this is tweeted out on June 26, 2019, and she says, "I am encouraged that @Twitter Canada has agreed to sign on to Canada's Declaration on Electoral Integrity. We all have a role to play in safeguarding this fall's election and to support healthy online political discourse." My goodness, if only, right? If only. Could you come to Guelph and tell the communists that, Ms. Gould? Here's the link to the Government of Canada website talking about the Canada Declaration on Electoral Integrity online. And I want to be clear, I'm just asking to be treated fairly. I don't know what I did to have the account locked. I haven't heard anything from Twitter. Every time I try and file a report, I get an email saying that currently it's under review, and when I try to log in, it asks me to give my phone number, which was, in my opinion, and I'm not 100% sure, I guess, but I thought I added my phone number as this was my campaign account, so I thought when I created this, I added my phone number. They could call me. I added my phone number in the thing, and it says that phone number is not supported, that phone number is not acceptable, or something to that effect. I've taken screenshots and sent it to people and said, is this okay? What's happening? And as I've said before, I am a conservative pundit as Canada Poly, and I talk a lot about Canadian politics. And when I started the Canada Poly Twitter account, this happened daily. I would communicate with people and have my account locked for suspicious behavior or something like that. But I wasn't doing anything suspicious. I was retweeting things, or I was talking to people or quoting things and tweeting them out, and Twitter would just lock me. I don't know. So usually when I would send the report, it would also do the phone number thing. So this is with my Canada Poly account that didn't have a phone number connected. It would also say this phone number is not supported, and it wouldn't let me. But I would go through the next step, which is says, if you're having problems, contact us. And I would go through the contact form and tell them what was happening and say, I'm a real person and you can contact me here if you like, and you can add this phone number if you like. And then usually within a couple hours, never more than one night's sleep to get my account unlocked, like really pretty reliably. I'd be like, okay, I can be back tomorrow. And this is now day 2. I think we've hit 48 hours, but I could be off on the exact time that my account is still locked and I can't get in. You can access the account, like as a user, you can look at what I've been tweeting by 2 clicks. You can click onto my account, which is markparlovos.com, and then say, yes, I'd like to view the account, even though it's restricted. You can see my tweets, but I can't make any more tweets. And all of my responses have been wiped. You can't see any of the responses. So anyway, here's the Canada Declaration on Electoral Integrity, and that was just to get you up to speed on what's been happening and what I've done to remedy the situation, which I think I've done what I'm supposed to do. Okay, here it is. Social media and other online platforms play a meaningful role in promoting a healthy and resilient democracy. They provide a forum for sharing ideas, encouraging innovation, enabling Canadians to engage in dialogue about important issues, and facilitating economic opportunity and civil engagement. However, these platforms have also been used to spread disinformation in an attempt to undermine free and fair elections and core democratic institutions and aggravate existing social tensions. Social media and other online platforms and the Government of Canada recognize their respective responsibilities to help safeguard this fall's election and to support healthy political discourse, open the public debate, and the importance of working together to address these challenges head on. To this end, we commit to working together in the lead up to the October 2019 federal election to ensure integrity, transparency, and authenticity subject to Canadian laws consistent with other legal obligations. Integrity platforms will, 1, intensify efforts to combat disinformation to promote transparency and understanding and inform Canadians about the efforts to safeguard the internet ecosystem. 2, apply their latest advancements and most effective tools from around the world for the protection of democratic processes and institutions in Canada as appropriate. 3, promote safeguards that effectively help address cybersecurity incidents and promote cybersecurity, protect against misrepresentation of candidates, parties, and other key electoral officials, and ensure privacy protection. The Government of Canada will ensure that the platforms have a clear Government of Canada point of contact for election-related matters for both the pre-election and election periods. We're currently in pre-election, and as I've said, I have notified Twitter as I've been instructed to do by Twitter. And if they're continuing to drag their feet on this, they're working with the Government of Canada. I can only assume that they're doing what the Canadian government wants them to do. They're behaving at the government's behest. As stated here, they have a direct line, a direct point of contact for election-related matters. So you would think that if there was a problem with a candidate, they would utilize that direct line, that point of contact for an election-related candidate who's got his account locked, and get in contact with that candidate, you would think. I can say emphatically, they have not. They have not contacted me. They have not done anything. They've just sent me form letters saying, yeah, we're looking at it every time I try and submit a report trying to get back into my account. It's very interesting. Back to the article. Transparency. Platforms will ensure transparency for regulated political advertising, including helping users understand when and why they are seeing political advertising. Ensure their terms and conditions are easily accessible, communicated in a manner that is easy to understand, and enforced in a fair, consistent, and transparent manner. This is supposed to be happening, and it's clearly not. Clearly not. The Government of Canada will implement the critical election incident public protocol to ensure public communications on cyber incidents are clear and impartial. Is this a cyber incident, or is this just Twitter dragging their feet? Is the Government of Canada interested in this incident at all? I haven't heard from Elections Canada. 8. Promote, where possible, lawful information sharing that may assist in detection, identification, and enforcement against malicious actors using the platform's products and services. Well, I've got a whole other video on that, I'm sure. Authenticity. Platforms will. 9. Sorry, I wasn't doing the numbers earlier. 9. Work together to remove fake accounts and inauthentic content on their platforms. 10. Work to assist users to better understand the sources of information they are seeking and block and remove malicious bots. Platforms and the Government of Canada will work with 11. Work with civil society, educational institutions, and/or other institutions to support efforts aimed at improving critical thinking, digital literacy, and cybersecurity practices to promote digital resiliency across society. 12. Facilitate the sharing of information on emerging developments and practices that could help protect Canadian democracy within relevant legal mandates. So, to me, it seems like this isn't even being followed. This isn't being put into place or anything, despite the fact that the social media people have signed on to this. I mean, why aren't they using their direct line, their point of contact, to figure this out? Why could my private Twitter that has to do with my YouTube show get 2 hours turnaround, and my candidate Twitter has 2 days so far, and still no signs and no communication from Twitter other than form letters? Here's Mr. Bernier tweeting about it. He says, "Hey, Twitter Canada, what's wrong with you? Communist thugs in Guelph tried to get our event there cancelled. Following this, you locked the account of our Guelph candidate, Mark Parlaovos, for no reason. Are you partnering with them or what?" And this is in response to the first tweet that I showed you there. And I really feel this is beyond the pale. I really feel like if there are election rules in place, and if Twitter did sign on to them, then this should be a slam dunk. Oh yeah, he's a federal candidate. Look at that. Here he is listed as a federal candidate. Maybe reinstate his Twitter. Maybe reinstate it this week, as we've got an event coming up. Interesting, right? Even more interesting is all of my competitors are completely ignoring this. Every other politician for the federal office in Guelph, everyone competing for the MP seat, everyone running, is completely ignoring this. Totally, completely. Very interesting. Very interesting, right? It's not happening in Guelph. We'll just ignore it and it'll go away, just like that Mark Parlaovos guy. We don't like him. Well, you have to deal with me, though. Sorry about that, everyone. Anyway, National Post is reporting, moving on, Canadian senators' NATO report accidentally reveals location of U.S. nuclear weapons in Europe. Yeah, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. It was released in April, but this was reported yesterday. A recently released and subsequently deleted document published by a NATO-affiliated body has sparked headlines in Europe with an apparent confirmation of a long-held open secret. U.S. nuclear weapons are being stored in Belgium, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Turkey. A version of the document titled A New Era for Nuclear Deterrence, Modernization, Arms Control, and Allied Nuclear Forces were published in April, written by a Canadian senator for the Defense and Security Committee of the NATO Parliamentary Assembly. The report assessed the future of the organization's nuclear deterrent policy. But what would make news months later is a passing reference that appeared to reveal the location of roughly 150 U.S. nuclear weapons being stored in Europe. According to a copy of the document published Tuesday by Belgian newspaper De Morgan, a section of the nuclear arsenal read, quote, "These bombs are stored at 6 U.S. and European bases." I'm not going to read them, but they list them. One in Belgium, one in Germany, one in Italy, one in the Netherlands, and one in Turkey, like it lists the city. So that seems easy to identify where the nuclear bomb would be held in that city if you knew the city, right? And if you knew where the base was, it'd be a hop, skip, and a jump, which seems like Not a good idea. Oh, back to the article. The document does not attribute this information to any source. This document does not attribute this information to any source. Last week, a final version of the report was published online, and it omits the specific reference to where bombs are stored. Instead, the report refers vaguely to aircraft that could carry nuclear weapons. Quote, the European allies often cited operating such aircraft are Belgium, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Turkey, the document said, with a footnote citing the 2018 report by the Nuclear Threat Initiative, a U.S. non-governmental organization. Senator Joseph Day, the author of the report, wrote in an email that the first version of the report was only a draft and that changes may be made to the report until it's dealt with by the NATO Parliamentary Assembly in November. All information used in this report is open source material, he wrote. As a rule, neither the United States... Oh, sorry, I'm not going to read that part. A number of European outlets, however, viewed the report as confirmation of an open secret. Finally, in black and white, there are American nuclear weapons in Belgium. That ran the report in De Morgan. NATO reveals the Netherlands' worst kept secret, says Dutch broadcaster RTL News. The presence of U.S. nuclear weapons in Europe was indeed no surprise, Christoph Rafe, director of disarmament and threat reduction policy at the Arms Control Association, said in an email, this has long been fairly open knowledge. There's been a number of clear indications that the presence of U.S. nuclear weapons before a diplomatic cable from the U.S. ambassador to Germany suggests that there were concerns about how long the weapons could be kept in these countries. A withdrawal of nuclear weapons from Germany and perhaps from Belgium, said the Netherlands could make it very difficult politically for Turkey to maintain its own stockpile, read the memo, written by then U.S. Ambassador Philip Murphy in November 2009. The presence of the weapons derived from an agreement reached in the 1960s and is in many ways a relic of the Cold War era, designed not only to act as a deterrent to the nuclear-armed Soviet Union, but also to convince countries that they didn't need their own nuclear weapons program. But times have changed. In 2016, after a coup attempt and the rapid spread of the Islamic State, extremist group next door, analysts openly wondered whether Turkey was really such a great place to store nuclear weapons. Yeah, interesting. And the last story for this morning, because I'm camping, is worst since 1948, Edmonton, the epicenter of syphilis outbreak declared in Alberta. Syphilis? Since 1948? What is going on in Alberta? Spoiler alert, they don't know either. Here it is. Worst, with syphilis rates at the highest in Alberta since 1948, the province's chief medical officer of health declared an outbreak Tuesday and pledged to address the alarming spike in sexually transmitted infections. The Edmonton area is at the outbreak's epicenter, with almost 2/3 of the 1,536 cases across the province reported in the region in 2018. That's almost a 10-fold increase over 2014, according to health officials. Quote, that's not just a small fluctuation. This is a significant change in a single year, and it's getting worse. We're experiencing even higher rates in 2019. Dr. Deanna Hinshaw, Alberta's chief medical officer, said at a news conference Tuesday to address the outbreak. A total of 977 cases of infectious syphilis were reported in 2018 in Edmonton, according to a provincial government report measuring rates of sexually transmitted infections and HIV. Calgary, by comparison, had 206 cases in 2018. It is vitally important that everyone who is sexually active in Alberta take responsibility for having safer sex and get tested, especially if you have new or multiple partners, said Dr. Laura McDougall, Senior Medical Officer of Health at Alberta Health Services. I scroll down. Health officials are also extremely concerned about rates of congenital syphilis, which occurs when a baby is infected during pregnancy. This can cause brain and nerve damage, among other serious medical problems. There have been 22 cases across the province between 2014 and 2018, one of which was stillbirth. Of those, 13 were reported in the Edmonton area, 8 in 2018 alone. Scroll down again. While Edmonton's caseload represents a 305% increase over its 2017 numbers, it is still unclear why so many cases are concentrated in the area, said Hinshaw. Quote, that's one of the things the Outbreak Coordinating Committee will be looking into, said Hinshaw. Over the next 3 months, it will focus on a strategy to increase STI prevention, testing, and surveillance to reduce the overall number of syphilis cases across the province. Interesting. And I mean, again, more consequences for completely unchecked immigration. I mean, this was a disease that was under control for a very long time. And I mean, why is this happening? Why is this happening? It's very frustrating. And just to finish off the show here, I wanted to show you, this is my Canada Poly account, and this is what happens when you try and find my personal campaign account. Okay, so I just refreshed the page, and this account is still locked. And when I try and log into it, I can't log into it because the phone number is not supported. And when I contact Twitter support, they send me a form email saying that we're looking at it, don't worry. So it seems like a quick fix. Can I have my account enabled, please? If you want to view my profile, I think a lot of the tweets are there, but you can't see them in the threads where I'm interacting with people. They're all hidden now. So, interesting stuff happening in Canada. Is this how we want our public discord to go? Is this how we want things to happen? When somebody's event gets threatened, they shut down that person's Twitter because how dare they respond to the threats? How dare they talk to people and say, no, this is not actually, or this is happening. This is going on. This is continuing. Got to shut that down. That's against the rules. You're conservative, don't you know? Unfortunate. That's not how I want Canada to be. I'd like everybody's ideas given an equal platform. And the only thing to raise it or lower it is people's conversation and opinions. That's how things should go. Not one small violent group threatening everyone else to adhere to their closed-minded and narrow ideology. And yes, I'm referring to Antifa. Have a wonderful day. Check out the People's Party of Canada.ca. And thanks for watching, everybody.